Hey everyone, so this week we have Daryl from the Bollweevils on the show, and this is a long one. It went for over an hour, a conversation, and I always think that I'm going to edit these things down, but then I listen back, and it's fun to just listen to the conversation all the way through. Sure, there's some moments in there where I'm like, I could cut out a little bit of silence there or something like that, but it's really just not worth it. So you're going to get the whole thing here. It's pretty cool. Couple of things really quick before we get to it. The Miserables Undercover series, it's going great, and I want to thank everybody who's been supporting it. If you haven't checked it out yet, please check it out. You can check it out on the Miserables Facebook page or web page, YouTube. It's pretty much available anywhere you could think of listening to it. One of the interesting things we chatted about in this conversation is the fact that I only wear black T-shirts and blue jeans. Pretty much that's my entire wardrobe, and I'm mentioning this because I'm staring at my pile of laundry right now. That is pretty much that's what it consists of universally. I do have some white T-shirts as well that I use mostly for just working out in. I think I'm going to start changing that, man. I need some better T-shirts and maybe just some better clothes all around. I get, I hear it all the time from people, and you know what? I'm a 34-year-old man. Maybe it's time to, put on a decent pair of pants every once in a while. Who knows? And my body is just so weird. I've got really super short legs. And I can never find pants that fit me right. All my jeans are always ripped up at the bottom because, I'm going to find a way to avoid wearing nicer clothes. I'm already working on it, so maybe this won't happen. We'll see. Anyway, Daryl called me short in this too. That reminds me of that, which I think is hilarious because Daryl's like 6'5", so everybody is short to Daryl. I'm like 5'8". It's not too bad. Maybe I look a little shorter than other 5'8" people. I don't know. I don't think 5'8" is too short. So Daryl's a funny dude. I was cracking up through a lot of this. We had a really good chat. There was a lot of back and forth. Really great conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy this. The Bollweevils show with 88 Fingers Louie is on December 21st at Concord Music Hall. You should definitely go to this show. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can find your tickets online. I know all of you know how to use the internet. Even if you just know how to use it a little bit, you can figure out how to buy tickets online. So let's get to this conversation.
I demand professionalism. I'm punk rock royalty in this town. I demand professionalism. This is horse shit. Where's my freaking oil bath?
I didn't realize that punk rock royalty got you anything in this town.
It doesn't. Where's my fucking oil bath? As I said. And it wasn't here. Where's my rub down? God damn it, Joe. It's bullshit.
So let's get started. So let's talk a little bit first just about, I do this with all the guys that come in, and girls. How did you get started in punk rock in Chicago? What's the early Daryl story? What got you into everything?
Sure. So, funny because I didn't live in Chicago originally. I mean, I was in Michigan originally.
Where at? That's where I'm from.
Yeah. So, see, there you go. Michiganders all together. So originally I was born in Lansing, the little capital.
I lived in East Lansing when I went to school.
See, there you have it. My parents taught at Michigan State, which is awesome.
Cool.
Then moved to Southfield. Lived in Southfield for a bunch of years, and there, got into skateboarding, got into punk rock. Listened to the Germs, the Adolescents, things like that, and that's kind of what got me into punk rock is listening to the Germs back in the day, and then the Angry Samoans, like one of my favorite bands, Angry Samoans, and then moved here to Chicago, and still getting into more and more bands. Bad Religion I was into, and the Descendants. And then met a bunch of people who kept turning me on to Naked Raygun. They said, you got to see Naked Raygun. And I said, okay, I'll check these guys out. I'll see what Naked Raygun's all about. So we went to go see Naked Raygun. And right then I was like, this is what we're supposed to be. This is punk rock right here. This is amazing. And so this is back in high school. We'd go to Naked Raygun shows all the time. And ran into, Bob, Ken, original members of the Bollweevils. Mm-hmm. And we'd just go to shows together. That's all we did. We were just hanging out at shows out in the front all the time. Called ourselves the Survivors in the front, always in the front row, always seeing the band. And one day they turn around, they're like, "Hey, you want to sing in a band?" I'm like, "I guess so."
Yeah.
I guess so. So they hand me this tape. They say, "Here's some songs. Learn these songs, and we'll hook it up." So learn the songs that they had performed already once as the Bollweevils. It was a 3-piece, and went into practice, and then we just started writing songs.
Awesome.
And from then on, it's history.
Yeah.
History as it goes.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because most of the dudes I talk to bring up Naked Ray Gun as obviously a staple of growing up in Chicago, and that being a big attachment to the scene, which I think Naked Ray Gun a little bit before my time, and then obviously I was from Detroit, so I don't think they spilled over quite as much into Detroit.
Right.
But we had our little scene that obviously developed there as well.
Right.
So you guys you start singing in the Bollweevils, and then my understanding is your first show with the Bollweevils, if I'm not mistaken, was a bigger show, right? And then,
it was actually the Metro's 10-year anniversary show, and we opened up for Naked Ray Gun of all people, and that's the funny thing.
So that must have been pretty packed.
Oh, it was great. I mean,
Yeah.
we're the opening band, and
How old were you at the time?
you're gonna have to make me do math right now. Oh, geez. How old was I? Maybe I was 20, maybe.
So under 21, under drinking age.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, because even Bob was way under drinking age. He
Yeah.
shouldn't have gotten to the show.
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing. So it was, I was 20, I think. Wow, that was way back. Hold on, I got to calculate this. I might have been 19, which is even crazier.
Yeah. So you guys play that show. It's at the Metro. You do the big show, right?
Yeah.
And then where do you guys go from there?
Oh, then you drop to the bottom of the basement after that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You get a taste of something, and it's like, this is what it could be, but this is what you need to do to get there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was amazing because it was our chance to play with our idols. That was the thing. It was we got to play with our idols. And I mean, Pierre came back, asked for a tape, got some accolades from the guys, and that was like the biggest thing. I mean, we didn't have to get paid anything, and I don't think we even got paid much.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, man, we got to play on a stage that we saw, Naked Ray Gun play on. Now we got to play with them. I mean, my goal in punk rock in the beginning, honestly, was just to have dinner with guys in the bands to say that, I'm hanging out with these guys now. And I've had Thanksgiving dinner at some of these guys' houses.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was my goal.
Yeah.
So it's, we go from that whole big show playing at the Metro. And then we just, end up being this obscure little band that's still pushing and playing and trying to get out there and make a name for ourselves. We just kept playing shows. That's the big thing. Just playing show after show after show. We'd play everywhere, anywhere. At whatever show was available and they wanted us to play, we played it. And if it was to, 4 people, 40 people, 400 people, it didn't matter. We were going to put on a show. And that's the bottom line. I mean, if you go to a show, what do you want to see? A show.
Yep.
If you want to listen to music, you can sit at home and listen to music now. I mean, you could do that anyway. So our philosophy is like perform. Somebody comes to see you, make them leave saying, did you see that? Can you believe that happened? We're not going to pull a G.G. Allen. That's the thing. I mean, God rest his soul, whether or not he's in heaven or hell or purgatory. But you got to actually perform. You have to do something and have some excitement. And the bottom of the line of performing is that you have a good time. I mean, that's what our whole goal is, to have a great time on stage. And hopefully that translates out to the audience at the same time.
Yeah, no, I think for any bands that are listening, that's one thing that if you have to cut your teeth doing it, you got to cut your teeth doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely get frustrated when I go see a show and there might not be a lot of people there, but then I get like the worst performance out of a band ever. And you're just like, dude, I get it. There's not a lot of people here, but there are a couple people here to see you, and
Right.
it'd be nice. I know how much it sucks because I've been on the other side of it. And it's really hard it's easy to get amped up when there's 1,000 people in a room.
Right.
It's easy to do. And what makes it better is when you can do it
Right.
when there's 4 people there, right? That takes a lot more effort for someone to get all that, because then it's got to come all from you. It's got to come all internally, and you really got to bring it out.
Exactly.
So I mean,
That story of kind of having that big show and then building from the ground up from there is kind of interesting to me.
It is. You get to see the mountaintop, then they push you down.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, the old Kung Fu master. You go to the mountaintop and they go, you must train more. And they push you down the mountain. You're walking up carrying the 2 buckets of water. You're punching, the stone. You got to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's good because you have to understand that it's not just handed to you. You have to have some level of humility to say,
Unless you're Justin Bieber. But.
Yeah. You have to have some level of humility and just say, you know what? Hey, man, we played a show. We like to do that. How do we get there again?
Yeah.
What's the road we have to travel? I mean, and what do we have to push through? Who do we have to actually jump over? Who do we have to actually play with? We have to please ourselves as a band, but then we have to sit there and continue to push.
Yeah.
And we got ourselves back up to a spot where we could say, hey, we're the Bollweevils. And people can go, I know who they are.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's interesting in the punk rock scene too. And it's common amongst a lot of forms of music. I mean, obviously, popular music is a total numbers game, but I feel like in the punk rock scene, the goal is not necessarily like I need 1,000 people to show up for this show. It's more like I need a decent number of people to show up so that we can have a good time.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I think that's a lot more what it's about. It's not. It's a different game to me. You know, I hear somebody was asking me in an interview the other day, like, what do you think you need to do to play these huge venues? And I'm like, I don't think the goal is really to play a huge venue. The goal is to just have a really awesome show. And those can happen at different degrees, right?
Right. But the other thing is, though, but you have to look at it. Everybody has their own, thought or idea of what their happiness is or what their goal is. And, I guess you could question somebody's, happiness in playing in a band if they're playing in front of 20 people and they're not happy doing it. It's like, then why are you playing in a band?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have those days. You're going to do that. You have to garner something from the ground up. If those 20 people are supporting you, give them what they want right there. It's like, there's certain songs that we have that people like a lot that they say, that's my favorite song of yours.
Yeah.
Or any band that somebody goes, that's my favorite song of yours. And you play it all the time. And, sometimes you don't want to play that song.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't. But you know what? It's really, you want to be the selfish artist to do that because that's how, pretentious you are. Just play the damn song.
You mean like Ben Weasel? Oh.
I'd never said no, not saying no, not at all. No, that's funny. I mean, you're talking.
No, I just remember seeing a show. We went to 30 minutes of Screeching Weasel or whatever. God, back in 2002 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I swear he didn't play a single one of the popular Screeching Weasel songs the entire 30 minutes. It was just all the obscure B-side stuff, which, I mean, I guess that's fine.
But that's okay because we've done that too. We've actually said, hey, we're not playing specifically 999 Stony.
Yeah.
Or we're not playing Bottomless Pit. We're not doing that. And people are like, what? How can you not play that song? Easy. We're not going to play it. People are like, well, I want to hear that song. Like, okay, we're not going to play it. We're playing this song. You've never played that song in a while. Okay, but we're playing it. I mean, you like our band, right? You like the Bollweevils? We're going to play a Bollweevils song. I mean, and that's the thing. So, I mean, I understand that. But sometimes you do have to, give it up and say, you know what? Hey, you want to hear this song? You want to hear this song. I mean, in fact, our last show, that show with Agent Orange that we just played in Guttermouth, 999 Stony wasn't even on the list. And we were pledging we're not going to play that song. And we weren't going to play, John Doe. But then Ken, in the middle of it's like, hey, he's feeling. It's like, let's play John Doe. Like, okay, let's play John Doe. Then, Mike Vinicore was out there, MXV, our wonderful photographer. He's out there. He's like, hey, I want to hear 999 Stony. We're like, okay, this is for you, Mike. We'll play it.
Yeah.
And it was not anywhere on our list because in practice, I can tell you, we were sitting there saying, these songs are banned from playing at this show. And of course, we lie to ourselves all the time. We always lie.
Yeah.
We always lie. That's all we do. We just lie.
Well, and you adapt to what you want to do.
Yes, it's adaptation. It's not lying. It's adaptation. Thank you very much. It's adaptation.
I'm helping you out here. That's what I'm here to do. Here to help you explain this stuff.
Right.
Okay. So Bollweevils were around till mid-late 90s, somewhere in there, correct?
Yes.
And then you guys split up, and what was behind the whole split up of the Bollweevils at that time?
The split up behind the band had to do with me heading off to medical school. So actually heading off to residency, in fact. I mean, I started medical school, and I had been in medical school during the time that we were still playing as a band. And back in '96, I graduated from medical school, and of course, I had to start working as a resident. We had gone on tour, and I had to leave basically towards the 2/3 the way into the tour.
This sounds very much like the Descendants story.
And listen, we all go to college at some point. We all have these aspirations and dreams. And one of my dreams not only wanted to play in a punk rock band, but was also be a physician. And, you know, it was hard because we play a show and I'm like, I'm leaving the band and get on a plane and come back to Chicago and start residency. And then the guys came back from the tour. You know, understandably very angry about the situation. Man, I can understand that. Very angry about the situation. I'd abandoned them, basically, is what they felt. That's what they felt. I abandoned them.
How old are you guys at the time?
Let's see. I'd have been...
mid-20s-ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'd have been 26, 26.
Yeah.
And, I mean, these are guys that have been my friends longer than I've been married to my wife. I mean, you know... they came back. We played a show in Elgin, you know, at the Wonderland Ballroom, and it was like a big show. And I got to play the show because I was off. So I came back and get up on stage. We're having a great time, and it's like we get all these accolades, and people are like, "Oh, Daryl, blah blah blah." But of course, the guys in the band are like, "Well, Daryl wasn't there. You know, he wasn't there. Why do you even give him any accolades? That the guy was not around." So it's like, how can you suddenly come into playing this big show and act like you've always been there when you basically abandoned all of us and didn't go through the rough patches of that tour at the very end.
Yeah.
And so they were understandably very, very disappointed.
Yeah.
And, you know, then we still kept playing a little bit. And then there was I don't know what date it was. It was somewhere, it was like the Fireside. I can't remember the exact date. But those guys had already had a discussion that they were done.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about it because, of course, they were done with me. And we got on stage, we're playing at the Fireside, and they announced, "Hey, this is our last show ever."
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like, could you inform my brother about this? It's like, what's going on? And so we get done playing, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
It's interesting, man, because when I look at people doing this today, everybody works. Everybody does other stuff now. I think even when I was younger, it was late 90s, early 2000s doing this. It was like, okay, if you're going to do this, this is what you're going to do, right? You're going to drop everything, and you're going to go on tour, and then all you're going to do is play music. Now, I feel like nobody does that. Like, and it's almost in a way, it's like working or doing something else is almost, it's not just a necessity, but I feel like musicians in general are more open to finding other outlets for their energy.
Right.
Because there is a lot of energy that I don't think you need to expend anymore to be a musician.
True.
Because it was so much harder.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean,
before
think
the
about booking
internet,
a tour back in.
Exactly. Like booking a tour would have taken you months.
Getting your music to people. You had to press 7 inches and have them sent out, and then Maximum Rock and Roll would, say, hey, here it is. They can offer it to be bought.
Yeah.
You might be on a label that's going to allow you to distribute it. I mean, you can distribute things digitally in just, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So it is different. And with that, I mean, this is my opinion. It might not be based upon anything, no fact at all. But I mean, it's probably easier to garner a bunch of individuals to say they like you, but you'll never meet some of those people. They could be halfway across the world listening to you on their computer.
Yeah, I was just talking to this band called Broadcaster about that, who's from New York, and I think we both found we have people that listen to our music that we'll probably never play in front of.
Right.
Like ever, because we'll just never be able to travel to where these people
Right.
are. And before, I couldn't imagine that happening because the farthest my CD could get was as far as I took it
Exactly.
or could afford to mail it, which wasn't very far back when I was younger, right? So
I still
now
haven't
it's
gotten my
like,
CD yet. I don't know what's going on with mailing. It's ridiculous.
but yeah, I think
But you said the word CD, and who listens to CDs?
I still do. And I know Jeff Dean does for a fact.
I know.
Jeff Dean is a fan of the CD. But
I listen to vinyl still, so that's the whole thing. I mean, that's
but
how you can-
vinyl now is definitely experiencing this resurgence of, it is a different medium, and it does have a very different sound to it.
It does.
All that kind of stuff. And you can argue whether it's better or not. I don't really care if it's better. It sounds different to me is what it is. It's just warmer to me, which has its appeal and doesn't have its appeal.
Yes.
But if I'm listening at home, typically I'll put on a vinyl record or a CD. If I'm listening through speakers, I usually don't play through an iPod on speakers. To me, that's kind of sacrilege. I don't know. But it's like, if I got these huge speakers, I should probably plug in a piece of audio equipment to them, not just my little iPhone that I plug my earbuds into. With
That's not a piece of audio equipment? Come on, it's a camera, it's audio equipment, it's it's your personal computer, it's all those things. It's a communicator.
It's Star Trek, man. We're living Star Trek right now. It's no doubt it's happening. But I think it's amazing, that you're a physician and obviously you had to go through a lot of schooling to do this. Yeah. And there's so many other examples of people doing that in the punk rock scene. I think it's great when you see it happen. I think Milo, who I kind of referenced before, is a great example.
One of my idols, by the way.
I was fortunate enough to meet him when they came through for Riot Fest. I mean, just very briefly got to shake his hand. He was at a show. Like, he went to the Strike Anywhere show and Mustard Plug show, which I was at, and got to meet him for 2 seconds. And I was just like, yeah, man, this is the dude. And I've seen interviews with him before where he's like, yeah, I get my 3 weeks vacation and we'll just take it and we'll go on tour. And like, that's what we'll do, and then I go back home and I'm a molecular biologist or something like that. So
he works with plants. I thought he was a botany guy. So.
Yeah. But I think it's great that, today also that you can have those other outlets, that there is the opportunity that you can do both of these. You can do two things. You're not limited to, I must find one way to, exert myself in this world or provide something for this world. Now I can have multiple things where I do them, and you can put it all out there.
I agree, and that's my attraction to some of those bands. If you think about the bands, some of my favorite bands are Bad Religion and The Descendants. I mean, you think about the guys in those bands and exactly what they do and what they've accomplished in their life outside of music.
Yeah.
But their music also is something that touches me and allows me to say, "Hey, this is what I like. This is me."
Mm-hmm. Well, and you might know, doesn't Dexter Holland from Offspring have a medical degree of some sort as well?
He also has some biology background.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I thought I'd heard that before. So
he does. So I mean, it's really good. I mean, I think that the one thing that going back to the idea of what bands had to go through to get to where they are today and kind of, touring and doing that. I mean, we had to do that. We toured. I mean, during medical school, I'd find some time that I had a vacation and we'd just go right on tour. Yep. And that was it. And that's how you garnered fans that you could meet face to face. And there's still fans out there of ours that probably don't even know that we're still playing again.
Yeah.
That we're back and playing. I mean, we stopped playing in 96 and people thought that was it. Then we came back and played that show in 2003, that WLUW show. And that worked out pretty well. We had all grown up and realized that, these kind of petty things that we were holding on to were a little ridiculous.
And in the meantime, the entire music world had changed. So
yes, entirely.
About those 7 years there, that's about when it all got flipped on its head.
True.
Right?
So it's like, hey, so old bands can come back and play again.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like bands took a little bit of a hiatus for a while. There's a lot of bands that did that seemed to disappear for a while, and even still, a lot of them are starting to come back even now. I mean, obviously, you guys are doing the show with 88 Fingers Louie, and you see a lot of bands coming back, dudes who have been around for a while. I think we're all still just figuring it out.
True. But I mean, the funny thing is, it's like, like all the guys in all these bands that are like, are all showing up again in some sense, or we're still around playing.
Yeah.
We do it because we love the music. We love to play. And a part of it's because of the friendships that we have with all those people. I mean, at band practice yesterday, the whole thing is, it's the camaraderie, it's the friendships that I've had with these guys through thick and thin. We've gone through a lot of stuff. There's war stories that we can talk about. And you can only look at that person and say one thing. I can look at Ken and say something. He can shake his head and go, yeah, I know. It's that kind of, the surviving together that makes it so, enjoyable. That we can look back on all those stories and say, man, remember we did this?
Yeah.
And look at where we are at today. I mean, this is pretty nice.
Yeah, and if you're playing in a band, you're not playing it safe anyway.
No.
I mean, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're dealing with people who all have inherently, by just being a musician, you almost have to have a personality, and you're putting yourself...
Personality disorder, you didn't say.
That might be a more appropriate term for it. So it's a risky proposition. It's a lot different than, sitting around and watching TV at home. If you stick yourself in a room with 4 other people and you got to figure out how to play music together, it's a lot different, right? And we all know what it's like at practice when somebody gets on somebody's nerves and you have to learn.
Part of being in a band is figuring out how you can get along with everybody.
Exactly.
You can write beautiful music, but it's like, dude.
Even people you would otherwise be best friends with, when you stick yourselves in a room and have band practice.
Oh, there's the best friend strangling that can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That can happen where you really want to strangle a guy.
Yeah.
And go, dude. I mean, it's like Cain and Abel here. It's like someone's going to die.
Yeah,
someone's got to die. Who's the evil twin here? Come on,
it takes a long. I mean, I think when I was younger, it was a lot more aggressive.
Yes, everybody was. I mean, that's that whole thing.
When you're younger, you're still figuring yourself out. And you can't figure these other people out who are trying to figure themselves out.
At 26, your brain then suddenly is mature enough to understand and comprehend. Holy crap! What the hell am I doing? Why was I so mad about that?
Yeah.
But before that, it's all about the beginning of 2001, where you've got just the apes that are looking at the obelisk and they're just fighting and get the bones out. That's what it is.
Nice 2000 reference there, man.
That's what it is.
I'm a sci-fi nerd. I love those references. So, okay, so you guys get back together. You play in 2003, I think it was. You said, and then you did a few more shows after that.
We didn't actually. We didn't. We got together in 2003, and it was like, okay, we were done again.
Okay,
it was like we came back.
I thought you guys did a few more shows after that.
No, there was the idea that we were going to do something.
Okay,
and because it felt okay. We felt okay about it. I mean, we really, if the first practice that we had together had gone really poorly, we wouldn't have done it. We wouldn't have done the show, and it didn't. We'd all matured enough. We'd all grown up, and it's like, hey, this is fun. This is why we like to do this. And then after the show, we kind of said, hey, if we could do this if we wanted to. We said, we'll think about it. And then the opportunity came up for Riot Fest. And we got called, and they said, hey, Ray Gun's doing this. We'd like to get other Chicago bands to play. The Blue Meanies are doing this, so we'd like to get you guys to do it. And we said, okay, we'd do it. So we got together and played that show, which you can get the DVD of the shows. By the way, the DVD is available.
Check this. I just want to make sure everything's still rolling. Yeah, we're good. Sometimes you got to check just to be safe.
So the DVDs, we had the show and the DVD made the show, but we played that show at the Double Door and at the Congress, and afterwards it was great, and it was like, hey, we should just continue playing, and we decided at that point we're going to continue playing as a band. So we then started playing shows sporadically. We did that show with D4 and Naked Ray Gun and the Effigies at House of Blues and. Did some other shows here and there, and then played Riot Fest again, and then, we kind of just kept playing, but had a lot of changes that happened after that.
Okay.
Still did shows as we were playing, and then, we had a change in our lineup. Bob had left the band after a Guttermouth show that we played a couple of years ago. And we had another, crossroads that we came to figuring out what we were going to do, whether or not we'd keep playing or not. And, we still, myself, Ken and Pete still had the gumption to play. We still wanted to. And so we started trying out bass players. Yep. And that's when, our new bass player, Miguel, came into the mix. It was funny because, we were really having... a question of our faith in wanting to play. And we had a couple other guys that we thought would be great bass players to kind of play. But if it didn't sound well, if it didn't work out well, we weren't going to keep doing it. It was going to be just hang it up. It'd just be done. We did have Miguel try out. And he was supposed to learn 4 songs, and he came to practice with 8.
All right.
was
That's the
actually
kind of guy you want to try out.
Right. Which the funny thing is we hadn't played for a while, so he brought
How
4
did you
other
find
songs.
Miguel?
That was a random thing too. It was at a Riot Fest show, and I'm there hanging out and talking. He's seen us at other shows and he's seen us play before. And I was saying, we're looking for a new bass player. I was talking to somebody else about it, and he overheard it, and he said, "Oh, well, I know some guy that plays bass." He was going to actually refer one of his friends, and he said, "What the hell? Why would I refer somebody else? I play bass."
Yeah.
So he decided to come to try out, and I remember saying to Ken, I said, "Hey, we got this guy. We had other people that we knew who were trying out, and I said, we got this other guy, Miguel, who wants to try out." And he goes, "Who's this guy, Miguel?" Like, he's a fanboy. No, God, no, not at all, no way, fanboy, no way, man. We're not having that guy play. So let's just try him out. Let's see how he goes.
Yeah,
and he killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. He's a good kid. I mean, he's funny. He's deals with all of our crap, our old man crap. But he's a true blue great guy. Fun person. It contributes a lot to the conversations that take place during practice. I'm laughing because the conversations are usually pretty lowbrow. But throws bass lines. And he said this. He said that one of his influences for bass was Bob, which is one of those things. So I mean, right there, it was like kind of a nice thing. So Miguel's been in the band now, and he's gelled. He's gelled pretty well. Brings a new energy to the band too, being a guy who's in his 20s, and you got all of us in our 40s who are playing in a band. So
that's a good age gap right there. That's bigger.
I can still bring it like a guy who's in his 20s, though. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's what's important, man. There you go. Yeah, the age gaps are different. I've been on both ends of the situation now, being the younger and the older one in the band. So,
and how does it feel to be the older guy in the band?
Man, I learned a lot from being the younger guy in the band. I'll tell you that much. When you have like 4 dads yelling at you and telling you like this is the way it's supposed to go. It was 4 dudes. When I played with Common Rider, it was me and then 4 guys in their mid-30s essentially, or early to mid-30s, and I was 22 at the time. And we were on the road. We just kind of I got thrown into a van with these guys for 3 months, and it was
that's almost like
learning
pedophilia
experience.
or something like that. If it's like where you got some old dudes who take some young guy in a van, they throw you in a van and you drive away.
There's a lot of weird on that tour. There's no doubt.
Do you need to talk to a counselor about this, Joe?
Yeah. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about patience. So I have a lot of patience these days. Which I think is a good thing.
You know what? Funny thing is, no, it should be reversed. We as older guys have to have patience with the younger dudes, and that's the thing.
I don't know, man, because, and sometimes, but I think it also depends on the dude. Like, I think those guys probably would have required a lot more patience with me because I was just kind of a hot-headed kid back then.
Exactly. It's like, you got to scold your kid. It's like, you know what? Really? Do I got to put you in punishment? Go in the corner and take a timeout.
But it's, I don't know. I think it's great now, too, that people are playing in bands like that where the age differences are so big, because I remember for the longest time, like, when I moved here, I knew dudes who played music, but everybody already had bands and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And, I wasn't really playing at the time, but I was dabbling a little bit. But I was in school at the time.
Yeah.
So, like, I was like, I might go play in a band. I might not. So I go look on Craigslist. And it was kind of funny because I was 26 at the time, but I would look at ads and it'd be like, we want somebody exactly in this age range. I feel like that's kind of stupid. I don't really know why people do that. Even to this day, I'm like, don't you just want someone who can come in and fucking rock? Like, isn't that the more important thing? At least for me.
I guess so. Between like a Creedence Clearwater Revival cover band or something, and then you got all these dudes who are there who have that Creedence look, and then suddenly you've got Eminem who's standing next to him. It's kind of fucked up.
But who cares? I kind of like, if the kid can play, the kid can play, or if the dude can play, the dude can play. I mean, at some point, I just want to hear people play music. But
you're not into the image of music. Come on.
No, I'm not. I don't. Yeah, no, a black T-shirt and jeans. It's actually amazing that this T-shirt today has words on it. Normally, I have no words on my shirt. So
you will not advertise for any person.
I am very, very anti-imagery in anything I wear. It's not even like I actively do it. Like, I don't consciously sit there and walk around and go, I'm not going to buy anything with labels on it or anything. Like I don't think like that at all. But I buy the cheap shit at Target. I walk up and I'm like, there's 3 Hanes t-shirts for $6. All right, I'll take that. Like I'm not gonna go spend $15 for the thing with the logo on it. I mean, I'll do it when a band comes through town. I have a bunch of band t-shirts, but then I never end up wearing those t-shirts.
Right, because you can't wear a label on you.
No, I just don't end up wearing them. I don't know why. I just don't, because I always take the cheap Hanes t-shirt out of my
I was going to bring you a t-shirt too, so screw you. Screw you. No advertisement made.
Well, some of it's kind of funny to me. Like, you'll see the people that, like, the things that have gotten appropriated by so many different music communities. Like, you'll see people wear Ramones t-shirts everywhere now.
Yeah.
And I think that's just hilarious, because I always want to walk up to them and
Did
just
you
be
see
like,
the Ramones?
I know, but I want to walk up
Go
to these
ask
people.
them that question.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see the
exactly.
Ramones?
Or what's your favorite Ramones tune, dude? Like, do you even know? Can you even name a Ramones tune?
I like Pet Sematary.
I mean, it's just so weird when you see that stuff that gets appropriated.
I saw them when they were on The Simpsons.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a conscious thing with me at all, though. I mean, my parents and every girl I've ever dated, and everybody makes fun of me for it, because they're like, "Dude, what? You just wear a black T-shirt all the time, like, and you wear them till you get ratty as hell. Like, sometimes they're just gnarly by the time I throw them out, but I don't know, man. It's just what I do.
So basically, that's your
t-shirts.
imagery.
I guess that's it, man. I guess that's it. Just
Can we
the
have
plain
somebody
old black
sponsor
t-shirt.
you from black T-shirts?
Dude, if I could get a Hanes sponsorship, I would be set for life. I'd be like, dude, just keep sending me them black T-shirts. I'm not going to put your logo on anything. I'm not going to display it.
But Hanes doesn't make pants, so you'd have to just wear underwear and a T-shirt. And the Chicago weather gets kind of
yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't be able to see anything then. So,
what is that, like inverted shrinkage you're talking about? Like into the body? It's like,
in a couple of weeks, maybe. I mean, once it gets that cold, man. So, talk about now. You're a physician. You've got big responsibilities, obviously, with what you do during the day. How are you balancing that with being in a band? Plus, you've got kids, you've got a family, the whole shebang now. So,
I mean, I think part of it is the whole, going through medical school, playing in a band, and then even playing outside of the Bollweevils. I mean, I was in that band Lando's 45 for a while. I mean, I always want to do music. I mean, music's something that helps to take my mind off of the other things. Mm-hmm. You got to be left brain and right brain. I think it's balance that you have to have. So it's my outlet. Music is the outlet. My wife understands that. The kids love punk rock. I mean, they're only 18 months old, but they love punk rock. I'll tell you that much. And even like our band, thank God. I was going to disown them if they didn't. But no, I wouldn't disown them. They're awesome. It is that whole thing of, finding the time that, is my time to, kind of reconnect with the fun part of life that's there. I mean, and medicine's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But you can't do that 24. You have to have some other outlet. You have to have some artistic outlet that you do, or sports or something else. I mean, I like to work out too. So you go work out. That's a good thing. It's, you work, you do your things. I do my administrative part of the job too. Being in an ER is kind of, I think, the punk rock of medicine is what I always have said that. Mm-hmm. I do have multiple facets of things. So I get my clinical time in the ER, which is, go, very quick, rapid, diagnosis, take care of this, get it done, make it right, save the life, go from there. Then I have my administrative part of the job, being the EMS medical director in charge of all the paramedics and their medical oversight. So doing that part. So that's another way I can use my brain and not always so go.
Yeah.
And then there's, of course, family life, which, that's always the priority number one when it comes down to it, with my lovely wife and my kids, my dogs and all those things that are fun. And then, that social part of my life. And then there's band. And I consider band really family too, because those guys are really close. I love hanging out with them. It's a joy to have practice at times, because, we hang out and we get some practicing done, but most of it's social time.
Yeah.
It's just catching up and hanging out.
Yeah.
Maybe writing a new song here and there, guys. It's that part. And then we get to do the fun of performing and playing. And that's a whole other aspect of it.
Yeah. And the practice with hanging out is important to the writing process too.
Yes, it is.
Because, we were forced to do a daytime practice yesterday, because I'm going to be out of town for about 6 days, and then we go on the road for 4 days. And so the only time we could find was yesterday at like noon. And we're not built to do noon practices.
You don't understand. We did practices on Saturday mornings at like 8 a.m.
Oh, man. See, that's like the non-social time for all of us because we're all still getting our bearings during the day. And so practice it was unfortunate because it felt very... it was hard, man. It was just like you're struggling to be like, all right, suddenly it becomes, all right, we're not just jamming and playing music. It's like, all right, what do we have to work on? What do we have to get done before Joe leaves for 6 days? Let's just play through it and get it over with so we can all go get coffee.
Well, see, that's the problem. You're drinking coffee. See, at 8 a.m. when you practice, you got to have a little shot of Makers, and you're good. You think I'm joking? I mean, that
it would be good if it was an option, but on Wednesday when everybody else has to go to work, now I could have right now, and maybe that would have gotten me into the mood. I think I'll do that if I'm still, technically unemployed for a few weeks here.
Doctor's
we
orders.
need to do a Wednesday practice again, and I'm just going to show up with a bottle of booze and be like, all right, guys, I'm getting it done.
There you go. See, that is called taking charge. Taking names and taking charge of the day. That's like starting the day off with an eye-opener, and you got to go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what you do. I mean, we have, to balance all these things, it's just a part of the day-to-day, what I do. It helps to keep me balanced, to have all those things happening at the same time. I know when the priorities have to be set for each thing. If there's, medical shifts, I can't do certain things. If somebody calls up and says, hey, can you guys do a show? And I have to work clinically, it's like, it's just not going to happen. Yep. Or if, there's a family thing that has to occur, it's not going to happen. It happens with all of us in the band. We have to accommodate everybody's nuances. Ken's is a principal at a school in Chicago, and he's got his family. He's got his 3 boys and his wife. And then you got Pete has his his kid and his wife or his significant other. And then there's Miguel. So I mean, we have to accommodate everybody's schedules. And it works out pretty well. I mean, considering that we have so many things you have to juggle.
Yep.
But for me, it is it feels good to be constantly doing something. If it's not, medicine at the time, if it's not the non-clinical part of medicine, if it's not, hanging out with the family and doing those, the duties as a father and a husband, and if it's not playing in a band, I got to find something else to do. I'll be working out.
Yeah. Well, I think you see that with a lot of bands who have done things. I find most of the people in the bands are not lazy people by any means whatsoever. Right. Like the dudes or girls or whoever who are in bands that are active, you find these people are constantly doing stuff. And even me, like, I'm unemployed right now, but I'm still, I spend at least 8, if not 10 hours a day doing music stuff, whether it's doing this podcast or I'm doing stuff for the band or I'm doing my own, stuff that I'm working on. I have to be doing something, and then I'm working out. I'm running a half marathon next week, so I've been kind of training for that, and I don't think that's uncommon. I mean, I think that I see the people that I know that are doing this stuff, like we talked about earlier, they all work. In some facet, even if they're working in music in some way, they're working a job, plus they're playing in 1, 2, 3, who knows how many bands. If
it's Jeff Dean plays in every band.
Every band.
I mean, we always make the joke, and Jeff, we love you, man, but it's like one of those things we say, I think Jeff plays in our band sometimes. I really do. I think it's like there's Jeff Deans at practice.
He's just there. He's somewhere in the room. His presence is part of the band.
I'm going to make up a band name right now. It's going to be called, Station Wall. Jeff Dean is in that band.
Yeah. But I mean, you just have to keep going, and I think that it's just the nature of doing this makes you somewhat restless in a way.
Yes, it does.
You just kind of have to feel like you're always doing something. Like the first couple of weeks that I didn't have a job, it was actually really weird because I didn't know what the hell to do with myself. Like I was sitting there and I just watched so much Netflix and stupid stuff, and like. Finally, I just had to turn it off, and I was like, man, I got to put this energy into something because I'm just not built to sit around.
The funny thing is there's a point where you actually expend so much energy that you have to say, I could do nothing right now.
Yeah.
And you have to get into that, that sensory deprivation tank that Ben Affleck was in Daredevil. Just have to climb right into that thing and just close it up and just be like.
It's a really obscure movie reference. from a mediocre movie.
The funny thing is,
if he hadn't have done that movie, people would be happier about him being Batman.
I don't know if that would actually change the thought process on that, but I'll say, watch it again. Watch it again. I
watched it recently. I'm not gonna lie. I literally just watched Daredevil, probably right after.
Did you watch the extended version of it though?
Whatever they had on. I think it was on iTunes. I rented it. No,
you gotta watch the extended version of it.
Okay.
It's still shitty in some senses, but I mean, it'll make you appreciate it a little bit better.
Okay.
You probably won't. I'm just saying that.
remember I
said
won't.
I said we lie. I'm just lying to you right now. That's the whole thing.
I think I'm gonna stoop and go see the new Thor movie.
I just saw it 2 days ago.
Is it okay?
It starts off slow.
Yeah.
It gets better at the end. The best thing about it is Loki.
Yeah, he's the best part of that whole thing. That part of the
No, it would make
Marvel
that movie
universe.
much better if Natalie Portman took her top off.
That would make every Natalie Portman movie better.
Yes. Thor, the Dark Areolas.
Man, I went through this period with Natalie Portman where I really didn't like her acting, but it was mostly just reference to Star Wars and how terrible those movies were. I mean, in general.
Hayden Christensen made that movie really shit.
And nobody could have acted well in those movies. I don't think that even Samuel L. Jackson was not very good in those movies. I mean, it's just and that's a dude that you expect a certain level of something from, and then you see him in that movie, and you're just like,
because he's doing this. He's like, you mean the Jedi Council is going to do this? The fucking Jedi Council?
Yeah.
What the fuck, Yoda? I'm going to use my pink ass lightsaber and stab that motherfucker in the chest. That is what it should have been. That would have been Star Wars kick ass.
Dude,
right,
people would have been standing up in movie theaters across the country cheering yes!
I know you are a Sith, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, dude. But then she did some
path of the righteous.
Oh, God. Oh, man. He just goes into the Pulp Fiction rant in the middle of a Star Wars movie.
My lightsaber has the one that says bad motherfucker on it.
That's still one of my favorite lines because he says it so just matter of factly.
Yes.
I don't know how he actually managed to get that line out of his body with all of that.
Right.
That was just everything in him was just the dude just should have known that was his wallet. That's the way he says it.
And the funny shit about even making references to that shit and then throwing it all together you got, if you think of taking Star Wars, the frickin' shit ass first part of the trilogy, and you think about this when Samuel L. Jackson and they destroy the whole Jedi Temple. If Samuel L. Jackson would have survived instead of falling out of the window or whatever, and he goes, "Oh, the wolf's coming." Why'd you motherfucking say that? That would have cleaned up everything. The wolf would have fixed everything up in 9 minutes and 47 seconds. The wolf would have fixed everything fucking up. That's a good Pulp Fiction.
That's what they got to do. They got to get Harvey Keitel in the new Star Wars movies.
Would be good.
That would be.
As the wolf. Wolf Solo.
But I got to get back to my Natalie Portman point because I just have to talk about this for my own selfish reasons. But
I bring up her tits and then we start talking about Samuel
exactly.
Jackson. It's real good. This podcast has gone to hell really quick.
Those movies made me hate her as an actress. I would look at her and I'd be like, dude, you can't act. But then I realized, then you see her in V for Vendetta.
Yes.
And she's fucking phenomenal in that movie.
Good.
And then she does the Black Swan movie.
But she's phenomenal.
And it's mind-blowing. That whole movie was just great to me. So now she's redeemed herself in my book. So that's my only point in that entire thing. I don't know why.
Then don't go see Thor 2.
Don't go see Thor 2 is what you're saying, because it might ruin my impression of her as a decent actress again.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I mean, really, what can you do when you're acting this? I mean, I love superheroes. I do. I love Star Wars.
Wearing a kind of Superman-y
it's Kingdom
shirt.
Come Superman.
Okay, gotcha.
So, I mean, it's you got to take it for what it is. I mean, really, what happened to us as a society where suddenly we can't just watch something and go, I just enjoyed it. We got to overanalyze it. I mean, because shit, even me, reading fucking comic books can tell you well, what the fuck? That's not comic book logic, blah, blah, blah. There's no fucking logic in that. But I mean, for enjoyment, it's a popcorn movie. It's enjoyable. And it's got some funny stuff in it. It's pretty good. We went from punk rock to reviewing movies now.
Hey, Ben, it happens in the podcast, dude. That's podcasting for you, man. Exactly. That's one of the best parts about this medium is you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
But I mean, it's definitely there's some references to some Marvel stuff that's pretty kick-ass in it. And it doesn't take itself seriously, so I'll give it that much. It's an entertaining movie. It's entertaining, but it does start off kind of slow. It does, kind of starts off kind of slow. And Natalie Portman, she looks good. She's cute. You got to get up. She's cute. But if it was Thor 2: The Dark Areolas, like I said, it would be a much, much more enjoyable movie. I would be like, yeah, there you go. Molnar's going to hit those two titties right there. Bam! Loki's horns come out of she's wearing them on the front of her top like a
dude.
Madonna
You
thing.
should have been a porn director in another life.
I can add that other facet to things that I do.
Exactly.
Now.
That's another resume point. Physician, musician, porn director.
Listen, if we're going to advance the internet to something else, it's got porn is the thing that advances the internet.
Well, hey, it's supposed to lead most new technology mediums,
does.
right? That's what they say.
Wait till 4K television show porn.
Oh, there you go. Then
That's
everybody
gonna
will have a 4K television.
That'll be crazy. That'll be crazy. Oh my God. That'll be so high definition. If somebody squirts at you on a 4K television, can you actually feel the water?
I don't even want to know.
And this has really started degenerating now. Really good. I think the lights came up in the room. That's why it's coming up. That's why. See?
A little bit. There we go.
Turn the lights down. We got to take it back down a little bit.
We got to get the mood lighting. Right.
Wait, I'm not directing this movie. No.
Okay, so let's get back a little bit on topic here, at least after that. I don't know where that went. We went all the way off the rails on that one.
Rant.
So you guys, obviously, you have a show coming up. You're playing with 88 Fingers Louie,
Yes. Good friends of
Bollweevils,
ours. Yes. And the bomb.
Yes, so
all good friends of ours.
Yeah, so that's a pretty classic Chicago punk rock show we got
That's
going on
gonna
there.
be very
and that's
fun.
going to be at this new place called the Concord,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Have you been there yet? I haven't actually been in the venue yet.
I've not been in the venue yet.
No.
I do know a bunch of my buddies have been in the venue, and they say it's awesome. And,
Okay.
I trust that it's awesome. I know that, Riot Mike's been working on that, and he's part, and he's definitely got his mind on right, his head's on.
So that's a Riot Mike venture, right?
It seems that way. I mean, Mike's been booking shows there, so I mean that's
Okay.
the big thing. So,
So
I mean, it seems like he's got his hand somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So it sounds good. I mean, it's definitely a good thing to have a new venue to play shows in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing. And I know people that have gone to shows there. They say they're phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no complaints I've heard of anybody coming out of that place. So I'm excited to play there.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I have Riot Mike obviously books a lot of shows around town on top of doing Riot Fest. I've talked a little bit before about I'm wondering what the long-term effect of Riot Fest being the big outdoor festival now is going to be on a lot of the music venues around town. Now, I think it was kind of cool last year the way that they did it, because they didn't really do any like, there weren't any shows included with your ticket, right?
Right.
So the year before that, it was like the big faux pas. I thought the year before that was, you buy the 3-day pass and you can get into any of the after shows. And anybody that tried to go to those shows knows that you weren't getting in. They only let like 50 to 100 people in or something like that to each of those shows at 3-day wristbands. So
You gotta move faster, Joe. You gotta move faster,
Dude.
You slow.
Man, I would have had to get outside of these venues at like 1 o'clock. I would have had to miss the entire day at Riot Fest.
You don't know how to move quick. You gotta have an efficient way of moving yourself around. That's your problem. Lack of efficiency.
I got
and
a
movement.
bike. That's it. But I don't bring that to Riot Fest.
Look at that bike. That has tires on it that look like shit.
Yeah, that's not a good bike. But
I mean, that's why you can't get in any venues, because you're too slow. Your bike has no tires on it,
Yeah.
and you're too damn slow.
my good bike is back in Michigan right now.
And it has to be a motorized bike, I hope.
Oh man, I've seen those around town lately. And
I'm
now
talking
there's
like
some-
motorcycle. I meant
Oh, dude, no, I've seen like the battery powered bikes that people have.
that's called like a moped.
But it's not a moped. It's like a bike.
I'm gonna call it a moped.
There's a store on Western, I think. It's somewhere over in Wicker Park or Bucktown. area
Mopeds
that
Are Us?
Sell that.
Mopeds Are Us.
Is that what it is?
I'm just saying that.
It might be.
That's a store I would make up if I was
have
selling a
no
store that
idea.
sold mopeds.
But it's like a bike with a battery on it. And I don't know how I feel
electric
about that.
moped.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Because then at that point, it's like, why not just get a scooter?
why not just walk?
Yeah.
Why not just ride the bus?
Yeah. I didn't understand it when I saw it.
I know reasons
was
why not
very
to ride the bus
confused.
because it smells like piss on the bus.
On the Western bus, absolutely. The Western bus is freaky, man.
Does that bike smell like piss over there?
No.
Okay, good.
No. But, man, I do try and avoid the Western bus like the plague. I've just seen too much weird shit on that bus. And, like, ugh.
You're not filming it to send it up?
I should, dude. There's one I wish I would have gotten, man. It was this old dude. He had to be, like, 60 to 70. He was just shit-faced. I mean... shit canned, and it wasn't even late yet. It was like 7 o'clock, and I can't remember where I was going.
Did he come from a band practice that started at 8 in the morning drinking makers?
It might have been because he was just on the bus attempting to sing the blues, and he's just by himself in the back of the bus, and he's all like, he's wearing like a gray t-shirt, he's got gray hair, and he looked like if the Blues Brothers had just failed altogether, and this is what was left of one of them. This is this dude. Like, their lives had gone to total shit, and they were like, just 60 to 70-year-old alcoholics. This is what they would have been doing. He's just on the bus, just like trying to sing the blues in the back at the top of his lungs, dude. Now, granted, it was entertainment. I mean, because everybody is cracking up. But at the same time, you're like, man, this guy really needs help.
So were you going to actually then accompany him on the song?
I should. Dude, if I had a guitar, that would have been hilarious. That would have been a great YouTube video right there.
He needed help. You needed to put some tunes to his voice, and that would have actually made it much better.
Yeah.
See, that would have helped him out.
Exactly.
Giving him some help was you actually hitting him up and say, hey, dude, hold on a second. Hold on. Let me get my guitar.
I got your back, man.
Let me help you.
Let's do it. All right.
Think
1, 2,
exactly.
3.
And what was he just doing? Going down.
Yeah.
The West of
Yeah. That's exactly what he was doing.
I drank a bunch of booze. I came from my band practice. Drinking make us mock like a boo.
Except you couldn't understand a word. You could understand the although it was always in a different key, it seemed like. But then he would just start saying words, and you're like, man, I don't know what you're saying.
He was his name Mushmouth Gummy Joe? Blues singer, generic, made a guest appearance on the Cosby Show guy.
It was priceless. I really do need to start videotaping that stuff when I see it on the bus. But I was just cracking up, man. It reminded me of the old Bill Cosby skit that he does where he talks about riding on the subway, and it's like it's the best show in town. Like, you can just sit there for a couple hours and get all the entertainment that you need, man.
It's open theater. It's an open forum.
Exactly.
It's an open forum for people to be singing the blues and masturbating probably at the same time.
Oh God!
You've probably witnessed that on a bus,
dude. I fortunately have not seen that on the bus or the train, but I have definitely seen too many people defecating in alleys in this city, without a doubt. Great. I saw that my first week that I lived here. So I was living in a little studio apartment in Lakeview, and I'm walking around the corner from grabbing dinner. I was literally like grabbing a burger and fries from the little place that was around the corner. I'm walking back with my food, and I turn the corner,
and that guy's defecating,
and
the same
some
stuff
dude's literally just taking a shit, and I'm just like, well, I'm not going to be eating for a while. This is going in the fridge for now, because that was disgusting.
So now it could be, I mean, if you're thinking now, porno movie idea, I mean, Speed 3, but it'd be like, they're on the bus, but then the guy's like, fapping himself on the bus. Oh, no. And if he doesn't fap fast enough, the bus will explode. So you got to fap it like, 3 miles an hour, and then
that actually sounds like a real porno movie idea right there.
So I mean, we could call it Speed 3 Jacked Off. So, don't stop jacking off. I can't stop jacking off. The bus will explode. You gotta help me.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Don't stop jacking off. On this bus will blow up. There you go. See, these movies write them fuck themselves. That's easy.
Dude, I'm telling you, you got a new calling.
I'm going to be very poor doing that. Very poor doing that.
So after the Concord show, what do you guys got planned? Anything right now?
We're looking at there's some other opportunities that are out there, and we're trying to see if we have some opportunity to play, Ian's party again. That was a fun time, so we'll see if we can get that done. I got to see if the other guys are available. We're looking at some shows definitely in the spring. Looking at some stuff in February. Really crossing our fingers, hoping that the band Death will come to town. If you've seen the documentary on the band Death.
I haven't seen the documentary, no.
Yes, take a look at the band Death. We're hoping that they come to town and we get a chance to play with them. So we're working on that. We're trying to get that put together. Got a lot of things we were working on, actually. We do have those new songs that we recorded one before. We have to re-record some stuff. We have some other new songs that are ideas that are out there too. But hey, we're playing more consistently, so there's always a chance to see us. But our big thing is trying to get out of Chicago and playing outside of Chicago. I know there's places that are out there that are wanting us to play, and we're going to try to find a way to get that done. So as long as it's the right opportunity, we're going to try and do that. And we'll bring our bus with us with the guy fapping on it. So there you go.
We actually just got a for real bus. It's a short bus. But we just...
Of course for you.
Everybody keeps making that joke.
I just said, of course for you. I'm saying, because you're height. You're a short guy.
No.
I wasn't making any joke about that. That's ridiculous.
I told my friend Stacy that in like a Facebook message. I was like, we just bought a bus. What kind? A short bus. That's appropriate. That's her response. I was just like, come on, man. She's like, you teed me up. You just gave it right to me.
No. I mean, from the standpoint, I'm not making the joke in that sense. I'm saying, truly, you are a short dude.
I'm not tall. That's
yes,
for sure.
You're not tall. And even then, the funny thing is, buying a huge bus would be ridiculous. I mean, if we're a band, there's no reason to do that.
No, I do once in a great while see bands that do that though. Like, because I don't live there anymore now. I just moved, but I lived right by Milwaukee, North, and Damon.
Yeah.
And so all the touring bands that come through Double Door and Sub T and all that stuff will park on Milwaukee there. And sometimes you'll see bands that are driving like old school buses,
right?
Like full-size buses. I'm like, what?
Right.
What? Like, are you kidding me? I wouldn't even know what to do.
You don't need that much space.
Yeah. I mean, we got a great deal on it. It was either that or a van. And we got this just because it was a great deal. And it works.
Do you also pick up children in that van too?
I would rather people think that's what's going on with the van than think a band is in there, because I don't want to get robbed. So like we're trying to come up with creative ways to make it look like it's anything but a band in the vehicle.
If you paint like Disney characters on the side, but they can't be true Disney characters, you'll get sued. So like kind of this like deformed looking rodent thing that has red pants on that are missing some buttons, and then a goose that looks like a duck.
Yeah.
And then maybe some other legomorphs instead of a chipmunk like Chip and Dale. I didn't say their names, proprietary things owned by Disney. If you could actually paint like little bunnies and shit on the side of it, then people will think you guys are either pedophiles or fucked up.
Either way, they're not going to want to go in.
Yeah, they're not going to go in your van.
Yeah, it's tough because you see
and
all
bring
these...
that jazz dude with you and put him in the back. Nobody's going to want to get in your van then.
I mean, seriously, like, you hear all this stuff about bands getting robbed on the road, and it sucks when it happens. But sometimes when you hear it happen, you see the pictures or something of the vehicle, and you just go, "Dude, really?" I mean, it's all windows, and you didn't even cover up the windows, and all your gear is in there,
or the door's just open,
or the door's open, or they've got stickers. The worst is when you see all the band stickers on the van. You're like, it's just a red flag for someone. I mean, you got to protect your stuff at some point, especially for the bands that are traveling around with no insurance.
True.
Right. And all the time when you hear about it, they're like, yeah, we're uninsured. And I'm like, I don't know, call me old fashioned, but I get insurance on any vehicle I'm going to take with any sort of music equipment in it, because it's too much of a risk for me personally to lose that stuff. If I lose it, I can't afford to replace it. So if I got to spend, I don't know what it is, $75 or $100 a month, we're going to be paying on insurance for this thing. And that includes some coverage of the stuff, and then I have renter's insurance, which covers all my gear and all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's worth it for me, because if I lost all my stuff, I mean, I know what this stuff costs, and it's over, what, not quite 20, but let's say
So
15 years of building up an arsenal of music gear.
Yes, and now you're thinking like a person over the age of 20.
Yeah, exactly.
that's
It's
how
like,
that
and
goes.
once you build up all that stuff, it's like, man, if I lost this, it would be one. It's impossible to replace some of the stuff I have. Like my amplifier, I would have to search high and low to find that amplifier. They don't make it anymore. They haven't made it since the mid '90s, and so I'd have to buy a used one. Again, that was used when I bought it, but I bought it in the '90s. And to find that amp again in any kind of good condition is going to cost me just an arm and a leg compared to what I paid for originally.
That's a smart guy in a band. I mean, that's the thing. You're thinking, not just, oh, it's all good. Nobody's going to mess with this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all, but it happens. It's been shown. You can talk to friends who've had this happen. Yeah. Everybody knows someone who's actually had their band broken into.
Dude, I think I've told this story before, so I won't go into it long-winded, but I used to have a house in Livonia, Michigan.
Yeah, I know Livonia. I used to go to the theater there when I was a kid.
Like, it used to be me and 3 of my buddies who lived there, and, bands would come through town, and we'd let them stay there and stuff like that. And the Bronx stayed at our place one time, and we would always have the bands park across the street. There was this, like, empty strip mall basically across the street. And so, you could park there and nobody cared. So they parked there, and the night they happened to park there, some kid, 16-year-old kid, drunk and stoned out of his mind, is going 100 miles an hour down the street, tries to make a turn, spins out, and lands on top of their van and totals the entire thing. Now, the kid survived amazingly, and that's a whole long story. But yeah, I mean, it just happens, and sometimes you can't even prevent it from something like that. It's like the most random thing. Like, the coincidence of that is just so weird.
It'd be like a piece of some satellite just comes out of the sky and falls and hits your van.
The night this van is in this spot, like, it had to be right there for this to happen. You know what I mean? Like, literally right there. If it was 10 feet to the left, wouldn't have gotten touched. It's right there. And
so then everybody bought lottery tickets at that point, right? That's what you're supposed to do.
I would have.
Yeah, you're supposed to buy lottery tickets at the point.
Let's go, man.
Right. Don't let this luck go away.
Exactly.
I know it's bad luck, but it's luck nonetheless. Odds are that this happens. Yeah. Let's play some lottery tickets.
Oh, my God. And you just think about that, and it's like, yeah, it really can't happen anywhere. And then if you lose all your stuff, and, oh, man, it would just be devastating.
If they played the lottery, they'd bought it all back.
Maybe, if they would have actually won anything in the lottery. But yeah, it's tough, man. And I always, when bands tell me that stuff, I always kind of cringe a little bit. I was like, oh man, like, I don't want to lecture people how to do their stuff, but at the same time, I want to be like, dude, you should really think about that, like, how, really do the tally and add up how much everything costs that you guys are carrying around. I mean, and when most bands, any 4-piece band that does the math on this is looking at a lot of money, and that's why bands are getting robbed, because there's a lot of money. We're not talking about a couple $1,000. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars in most cases, even for the smaller bands.
And think about it. Now, you being unemployed, you might be the general person that might be breaking into a van, stealing some stuff now. I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
Hey, I'm okay. I'm not desolate. Okay,
that bike looks pretty desolate over there. I'm just saying.
Okay, but I had that when I was employed. So,
jeez.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I have a decent bike, but that's back in Michigan.
Gathering dust.
Yeah. Well, I do need to bring it back to Chicago. The sad thing is, I took it there in the thought that I would actually go ride it around, and then I never did, and then I just couldn't bring it back because I brought other stuff back instead of the bike.
But you don't need a bike. You're like a marathon training, like you said.
Yeah, but that doesn't get you around in the winter in Chicago.
It'll make you run faster.
At least not me.
It'll make you run faster.
Yeah.
I just worked a marathon, and by the way, I mean, it was done great. The Naperville Marathon went really great.
They have a marathon in Naperville. No,
they
kidding.
do. Yes,
Yeah.
the Edward Hospital sponsored the marathon. They just their first marathon there. It was great. But it's like, marathoners, you guys have a mindset of. Like,
I only do the half. I don't do the full.
Either way, you guys have a mindset. You guys are just.
I kind of want to do a full at some point. My sister did one.
Yeah.
I think last year she did a full marathon. But the half marathon, and I tell people this all the time when they ask me how you do it, and some people get mad at me when I say this, but it is very mental.
It is.
It's really a mental exercise, because your body, if you've trained in any way for it, or if you do work out and you're able-bodied, your body can get through, for what I do, 13 miles.
Right.
It can make it. What might not be able to make it is your brain going, man, I really want to stop running right now.
Exactly.
Like I'm 8 miles in. I've been doing this for, at that point, for me, that's probably about an hour and 20 minutes or so.
And there's nothing chasing me that's going to kill me.
Exactly.
So I could stop
I'm
right
just
now.
doing this to do it, like just
I'm
to
actually
keep
running towards maybe my death.
Yeah.
That's what I'm running towards.
So you have to just kind of, and when I go into it, I mean, I just kind of turn it all off. I go, okay, this is the next, I set myself up. I go, this is the next 2.5 hours ish of my life is just going to be running, and that's it. And when
Are you listening to music when you're doing your run?
Last time I listened to a mix of music and podcasts.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's really hard for the kind of music that I like to listen to that kind of music for 2.5 hours, right? It gets to your ears at some point. I mean, I talked to Adam, our guitar player, about this. He does engineering all the time. It's like ear fatigue at some point,
right,
because you have especially the distorted guitars, really can drive a wedge in your ear after a while.
Yes.
So listening to people talking is easier on the ears. Plus, I like listening to people talking, and I used to always listen to talk radio when I would do long drives back in the day, because that would keep me awake more often than listening to music, mostly because a lot of the music that I would listen to I knew already, and so sometimes it becomes background noise. Whereas if you're listening to people talk and it's a subject that you're interested in, it captures your mind a little bit, so it keeps you awake. Right. Yeah. And it gets you thinking too. Not that music can't, but again, it's like 2 hours into listening to music. Sometimes I feel like it wears on you a little bit.
So you do like a little bit of music, then the podcast and music again.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to do the same thing this time. I think I'm actually going to plan a little playlist this time and try and get it together on my phone so I can have it pre-programmed, because the struggle I ran into last time was I didn't. Yeah. So I'm trying to run, and like I'm holding my phone and I'm like, they really should have programmed this ahead of time. This is not easy. So I think I'm going to try and plan a little bit in advance this time. And
it is mental toughness though for the marathon.
Yeah, you gotta prep yourself to just say, I'm going to keep going even when it's not easy.
Right.
You're really tired, and I think everybody has those walls that they hit when they're doing any kind of endurance exercise, which is you hit that point where you really do feel like, man, I really should stop right now, or want to stop right now.
A buddy of mine said something though that was really interesting. He did the half, and he said, you think about that, it's 13 miles, so you're running, but even then. Think about our men and women in uniform, soldiers. I mean that are carrying a pack on, and they have weight, and they're marching through the desert. It's like right there, you could run the 13.
Yeah,
you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, God, I couldn't even imagine. But I hit my. Usually it's about 7 or 8 miles in, and that's where I go.
Why?
I'm like, I decided to do this again. But then I just remind myself, okay, fine. I got a little less than half of this thing left to go, so let's just get it done.
Right.
Let's just finish it, and then it's over with, and then it's all right. Now, the last time I did it, I didn't train really at all.
That's kind of bad. I'm just going to say, medically, that's a bad thing.
Yeah, it wasn't very smart.
When did you get chest pain? At mile 4?
The whole time. But the thing is, the last time I did it, it wasn't the chest pain that was so bad. I did it in Vegas, which is what I'm doing again. They do a rock and roll half marathon in Vegas every year. And it's really cool. You get to run the strip and all that kind of stuff. But then, of course, the strip isn't long enough to do the entire half marathon. Right. So they send you into the neighborhoods in Vegas for a good stretch of it. The neighborhoods are all paved in concrete, not asphalt, concrete. So like everybody that I ran with said the same thing. It was like you got done running through those neighborhoods, which were, I want to say they were about miles 6 through 10.
Wow.
Your feet just hurt so bad. It suddenly felt like you didn't have shoes on anymore because you're just hitting that concrete with every step. And I kind of at some point just said, screw it. And I started running on people's lawns. I was like, I can't, my feet can't take it anymore. By the last mile of that, I just couldn't handle it anymore. So I'm definitely going into it this time a little bit prepared for that. I'm going to make sure that I'm buying some new shoes here Probably today, actually, I might go shoe shopping. Yay, shoe shopping. But definitely making sure I buy shoes that are okay to run on concrete with, because I didn't ask that last time because I didn't know that there would be a lot of concrete involved.
If that comes down to it, I'd be like, maybe I just need to run right into the casino and just...
Oh, man, the worst part was after you're done, you get done and there's the finish line, and you literally can't get off the strip for another mile. It's all barricaded on either side for another mile, so it's like just insult to injury, man. You're just stumbling trying to get on, because they let you, it's on the strip where you finish. It's like right by the finish, I think, is by the Mirage.
Oh, nice.
But then you have to walk pretty much all the way past where the Bellagio is to finish.
So then go into the Bellagio, get some grub.
Is what happened.
Get some grub.
But it was like the saddest walk into the Bellagio.
Oh, there have probably been sadder walks into the Bellagio. So I mean, I will tell you,
or out of the Bellagio.
Yes, there've been sadder walks on the strip.
Oh my God, this was the second trip where in the Bellagio I had let's just say women of the night proposition me walking past the bar that they all hang out at the Bellagio, that like horseshoe shaped bar. I can't remember what it's called, but both times that it's happened, I'm just like, I don't even have that kind of money for one thing. I'm like, I don't think I can afford 10 minutes, sweetie. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, it's interesting there, man. But yeah, so this time I've prepared myself for that part, that there's going to be a long walk afterwards. You got to get through that part too, because it's got to be at least 3/4 of a mile. I think the walk that you have to make.
That's got to be, the concrete running has got to be the crappiest part.
Oh, it was the worst.
Yeah. And then walking that other mile down the strip to get to where you need to get to at the end.
Yeah, because I've done the half in Chicago before, and obviously, they use Lakeshore Drive,
right,
and they use a lot of the downtown streets. But from my recollection, most of those streets are paved in asphalt, which is a lot easier on your feet, obviously, than
it's really easier on your feet, not running a marathon or half. I'm just pointing that out. That's really easy.
It's very true.
Very easy.
But it's a challenge, man. It's a challenge that I like, because...
a challenge is? Life. For some.
But hey, man, it helps me lose weight, which is something I struggle with constantly. My weight throughout my whole life has gone like this. I've never been like a big, huge guy, but I've definitely had points in my life where I've been very out of shape, and just having that simple goal of like, I'm going to do this. Helps.
Do CrossFit. CrossFit will help you lose weight.
Yeah, I've tried a lot of stuff. Running is the one thing that I can just very consistently do. I don't know. I think it's just that it's easy, for one thing. Like, it doesn't take a lot to go running, right?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't take a lot of balance either, which I'm not the most
so that's why this bike is sitting here.
Let's just say graceful person in the world. So, I've tried doing like the yoga
after you ran the marathon, you didn't have to start off and be in the or anything like any Cirque du Soleil show or anything like that.
No. So it's very easy. It's just, and then I can do it on a treadmill in the winter. Which,
it's really easy to lose weight if you have like explosive diarrhea for a long time. Cholera would help you lose weight. I mean, if you really want to lose some weight, get some cholera will lose weight.
Just eat some foods that give me diarrhea, and it just clear it all right out, man.
Yes.
Just get it right out.
Just drink a lot of brackish water. That will help you lose a lot of weight. Lots of weight. And you'll be running to the toilet. It's a very short run.
I can go make a trip to a foreign country and drink their water.
Right.
And that's not making fun of foreign countries, and you probably understand this. It's just that you're not adjusted to what's in their water system.
I just told you to drink some brackish water. If I told you to. You can drink brackish water here. You can just drink it here. Just go outside of the space. There's some water that's in the gutter out there. Just start drinking that and see what happens.
Oh my God.
I'm not recommending this as any dietary aid in any way because
Is
it's
this
really not good.
physician's recommendation?
Oh God, no! This is just me wanting to see you do something stupid as shit so I can watch it. That's all this is. This is definitely not physician telling you this. I would recommend against this.
Just as long as you're there when I do it.
I just want to see it so you can get on the on that Western Avenue bus and start singing with that guy while you got diarrhea. The piss smell and shit smell will be out of control.
And then put it on the YouTube.
Yes, on the YouTube, and that would definitely win the internets.
Yeah. How do you win the internet? I don't even know how you do it anymore.
If you were shitting like that and I filmed it and you were playing the guitar at the same
There you
time
go.
while the guy's fapping and singing. Yes. There we go. That's a fetish video right there.
That's the most chaotic video I've ever thought of in my life. That's just, there's a lot going on there.
Fetish video right there. I'm not getting involved in that.
Yeah.
We're keeping it high class.
Yeah. That I wouldn't consider high class.
No, but
any
somebody will
stretch
want to
of the
watch that somewhere.
imagination.
On the internet, somebody will watch that.
Yeah. So, anything you want to add about Bollweevils now that we've talked about everything from becoming a porn director to
Right, which has nothing to do with the Bollweevils.
to Natalie Portman's boobs.
Right, which kind of brought us to this. No, I mean, I think that I'm glad you invited me over to talk, and it's going to be exciting to play the show on the 21st of December, and looking forward to that. Really, it's going to be fun time. It's all of our good friends. We're all playing a show. It's like old school fun, and we're still playing. We're out there. People that haven't found us, we're still out there. Like us on whatever social media thing you use. We're out there.
So, how does that work for you guys? How do you feel about that, having to use social media now? What do you like? Just general overall feeling of, you come back into this now and you've got social media as the main means, it seems, of distribution of information about a band.
It's easier though. I mean, before it's kind of like you had to put flyers in a certain spot and make sure it's on like that little sheet of paper at the Fireside Bowl that had all the shows listed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot easier for a band to get information out to their constituents and to other people too to find it. I mean, if you have a question in your mind, like, hey, I wonder what such and such band is doing, you can type in, Google it or whatever you want to do, Bing it, whatever you do. And,
Bing.
There you go. And it's right there. So, look us up. We're there, find us. I know people that I've run into at shows and they go, oh, you're Daryl from the Bollweevils. I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm like, hey, are you guys still playing? Yeah, we are. Oh, crap, I didn't know. So, hey, we're out there. It's good to be, playing music with my buddies. It's good to be, just out there entertaining people. And if you want to find us, we're out there and we're still playing because we have a great time doing it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I know I'll be there on the 21st. I'm sure it's going to be a packed show, so it should be a good time.
We'll do something stupid.
Well, hopefully, and I'll make sure I get my camera phone out and be that guy. Be like, here's Daryl doing some dumb shit.
Because I'm not even going to sing. I'm going to find that dude who was on the Western Avenue bus. I'm going to sit back and watch him. This is it.
You're bringing that guy up, and you're going to be like, he's singing for us tonight.
Experimental. I'm just going to sit back and watch this and clap slow. That's what we're going to do.
Oh, man. Oh, Jesus. All right, dude. Cool.
Degeneration of a podcast. How's it fall apart? Just say, when Dennis comes on, hey, Dennis, we had a good time at the Dickey show. It was awesome. It was fun. It was fun. It's good times.
Yeah, I think he's coming in tomorrow.
Good.
So
good. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yeah, but the show will be there on the 21st, guys. Concord Theater. It'll be fun. And then look for us after that. We'll be playing some shows and have some other stuff out there for you guys.
Cool, man.
Cool, man.
So we rambled on a little bit, eh? That was fun, though, man. Daryl's a great dude. You got to go to that Bollweevils show, guys. It's Bollweevils and 88 Fingers Louie on December 21st at Concord Music Hall. All right, guys. Mizzi out.